Everything we know, everything we've built, every war we've fought, every dream we've chased, might just be part of someone else's grand experiment. Somewhere out there, in the vast darkness of space, advanced beings could be watching us the same way we watch ants building their colonies in our backyard. Welcome to one of the most mind-bending ideas in the search for extraterrestrial life, the zoo hypothesis. Are we truly alone in this cosmic ocean? Or have we never actually been alone at all? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and unsettling theories that attempts to answer the biggest question humanity has ever asked. Where is everybody? Think about it for a moment. When you visit a zoo, you observe the animals from behind glass barriers. You watch their behavior, take notes, maybe snap a few photos. But you don't interfere. You don't walk into the lion's den to introduce yourself. You maintain your distance, preserving the natural state of what you're studying. Now imagine scaling that concept up to an intergalactic level. The zoo hypothesis suggests that our entire planet might be nothing more than a carefully maintained preserve, a cosmic wildlife sanctuary where Earth's inhabitants, that's us, are the subjects of observation. Advanced alien civilizations, according to this theory, have made a collective decision to study us from afar, never revealing themselves, never making contact, never disrupting the natural course of our development. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The idea that while we've been desperately scanning the skies, sending radio signals into the void and spending billions on space telescopes, our cosmic neighbors have been there all along, simply choosing to remain hidden. They're watching us struggle with climate change, witness our technological breakthroughs, observe our social evolution, all while maintaining perfect silence. This isn't just science fiction storytelling. This is a legitimate scientific hypothesis that attempts to solve one of the greatest mysteries in astronomy, the Fermi Paradox. If the universe is so vast, with billions upon billions of stars and potentially habitable planets, why haven't we encountered any signs of intelligent life? The zoo hypothesis offers a disturbing answer. Maybe they're all around us, but they've agreed to keep their distance. Imagine being an ant in that backyard colony, completely unaware that massive beings are observing your every move from above. You go about your daily routine, building tunnels, gathering food, following your instincts, never realizing that your entire world is being documented and studied. That might be exactly where humanity stands right now in the cosmic hierarchy. The implications are staggering. Every UFO sighting that can't be explained, every mysterious signal that doesn't quite fit our understanding, every moment when we've felt like we're being watched from the stars, could all be glimpses behind the curtain of this vast experiment. But here's the most unsettling part. If this theory is correct, then our observers are so advanced, so careful, that we remain completely oblivious to their presence. Before we go any further into this cosmic rabbit hole, make sure to subscribe to Exploring the Universe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we're about to uncover about our place in this mysterious universe. Back in 1973, a brilliant astronomer named John Ball was grappling with the same question that keeps many of us awake at night. If the universe is teeming with life, why haven't we heard from anyone? But instead of assuming we're alone, Ball proposed something far more radical and unsettling. What if advanced alien civilizations aren't hiding from us by accident? What if they're avoiding us on purpose? Ball's idea was revolutionary because it flipped our entire perspective upside down. For decades, scientists had been operating under the assumption that any advanced civilization would naturally want to communicate, explore, and make contact with other intelligent species. We projected our own curiosity and desire for connection onto hypothetical alien minds. But Ball dared to ask, what if they think differently than we do? Picture a team of wildlife researchers studying a newly discovered tribe in a remote rainforest. The ethical researchers don't march into the village with cameras blazing and technology beeping. They observe from a distance. They document behaviors without interfering. They let natural development unfold without contamination from outside influence. This is exactly what Ball suggested might be happening to us on a cosmic scale. The theory suggests that somewhere out there, perhaps in a galactic council we can't even imagine, advanced civilizations have established what we might call a non-interference protocol. Earth has been designated as a protected zone, a kind of cosmic nature preserve where primitive life, that's us, can evolve and develop without outside influence. Think about how we treat endangered species or indigenous communities that we want to protect. We create boundaries. We establish rules. We observe and study, but we don't intervene unless absolutely necessary. What if humanity is essentially living inside an invisible fence, one so sophisticated we don't even know it exists? This idea completely reframes what scientists call the Great Silence. For over half a century, we've been scanning the skies with increasingly powerful technology, listening for any whisper of intelligent communication from the stars. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, known as SETI, has analyzed millions upon millions of radio frequencies from space. They've examined signals from thousands of star systems. They've invested decades of brilliant minds and cutting-edge technology into this cosmic treasure hunt. And what have they found? Silence. Complete, profound, almost deafening silence. But here's where Bohl's theory gets really interesting. What if that silence isn't the essence of life? What if it's the presence of discipline? What if every advanced civilization in our cosmic neighborhood has agreed to maintain radio silence when it comes to Earth? The same way researchers agree not to disturb a delicate ecosystem. Consider this. Every time SETI points their massive radio telescopes toward a passing star means nothing, they might actually be discovering evidence of the zoo hypothesis in action. The very lack of signals could be the most significant signal of all. Now here's a question that might keep you up tonight. Do you think these hypothetical alien observers are staying away from us out of respect and ethics, treating us like a protected species that deserves to develop naturally? Or do they consider us so primitive, so insignificant in the grand scheme of galactic civilization, that we're simply not worth the effort of contact? It's a humbling thought either way. Whether we're cherished like endangered pandas or ignored like bacteria in a petri dish, both scenarios suggest that we're not the masters of our own cosmic destiny that we like to imagine ourselves to be. Now let's dive deeper into the mystery that started it all. Back in 1950, a brilliant physicist named Enrico Fermi was having lunch with his colleagues at Los Alamos when someone mentioned a recent wave of UFO sightings. The conversation drifted to the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and then Fermi asked a question that would haunt scientists for decades. Where is everybody? It seems like such a simple question, but it cuts right to the heart of one of the universe's greatest mysteries. Think about the numbers for a moment. Our galaxy alone contains somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Many of these stars have planets orbiting them, and we now know that rocky, Earth-like worlds are actually pretty common. Some scientists estimate there could be as many as 40 billion potentially habitable planets just in our own galaxy. The universe has been around for nearly 14 billion years, which means there's been plenty of time for life to evolve, develop intelligence, and spread across the stars. Even if space travel is incredibly difficult, any civilization that's been around for millions of years longer than us should have had plenty of time to explore and colonize vast regions of the galaxy. So where are they? Why haven't we seen massive engineering projects that would be visible from light years away? Why haven't we detected the radio chatter of galactic civilizations? Why hasn't anyone stopped by to say hello? This puzzle became known as the Fermi Paradox, and it's kept scientists scratching their heads for over 70 years. There are dozens of proposed solutions, ranging from the hopeful to the terrifying. Maybe intelligent life is incredibly rare. Maybe civilizations tend to destroy themselves before they can spread to the stars. Maybe space travel is just impossibly difficult, even for advanced species. But the zoo hypothesis offers a different kind of answer, one that's both comforting and deeply unsettling. What if the silence isn't because nobody's out there? What if it's because everybody's out there watching us, but they've all agreed to keep quiet? The renowned astrobiologist Paul Davies once put it perfectly when he said that if aliens do exist, they might be studying us the same way an anthropologist studies isolated tribes. They observe from a distance, document our behavior, maybe even take the occasional sample, but they're careful not to contaminate the culture they're studying with outside influence. Picture yourself standing in front of a large aquarium at your local zoo or aquarium. The fish inside go about their daily lives, completely unaware that you're watching them. They swim, they eat, they interact with each other, all while massive creatures observe them from just beyond the glass. The fish have no concept that there's an entire world outside their tank, filled with beings so different from them that communication would be nearly impossible. Now flip that perspective. What if we're the fish, and our entire planet is the aquarium? What if advanced alien civilizations are standing just outside our perception, watching us live our lives, document our progress, maybe even occasionally dropping the equivalent of food flakes into our tank in the form of technological inspiration or genetic nudges? The more you think about it, the more the pieces start to fit together. Every unexplained aerial phenomenon could be the equivalent of a researcher's equipment briefly becoming visible to the fish. Every breakthrough in science or technology could be a carefully timed intervention, like adding nutrients to keep the ecosystem healthy. The zoo hypothesis suggests that these cosmic observers know exactly where we are and what we're doing. They've been watching our species evolve from scattered hunter-gatherers to a global civilization capable of splitting atoms and reaching for the stars. But just like ethical researchers studying wildlife, they maintain their distance, letting us develop naturally without interference. If this fascinates you as much as it does me, make sure you're subscribed to Exploring the Universe. We're just getting started on this cosmic journey, and trust me, the deeper we go, the more mind-bending this gets. Here's where things get really interesting, and honestly, a bit frustrating. If we're living in some kind of cosmic zoo, you'd think there would be clear evidence, right? Well, the truth is both more complex and more intriguing than you might expect. For decades, governments around the world have been investigating unidentified flying objects. The United States military has been tracking strange aerial phenomena since the 1940s. The British had their own investigations. The French, the Russians, even smaller countries have documented encounters that simply don't fit into our understanding of known technology. But here's the thing that makes this whole situation so puzzling. Despite all these investigations, despite thousands of reported sightings, despite military encounters that have been declassified and made public, we still don't have that smoking gun piece of evidence. No alien ambassador has landed on the White House lawn. No crashed spacecraft has been publicly displayed in a museum. No clear, undeniable proof of extraterrestrial contact has ever been officially confirmed. So what are we supposed to make of this? Are all these sightings just cases of mistaken identity? Weather balloons, experimental aircraft, atmospheric phenomena that our brains interpret as something more mysterious than they really are? Or could there be something else going on here? In 2021, something unprecedented happened. The Pentagon, the very heart of American military power, released an official report that admitted something remarkable. They had documented 143 encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena that they simply could not explain. These weren't reports from random civilians or conspiracy theorists. These were documented encounters by trained military personnel using sophisticated radar and tracking equipment. Think about what that really means. The most technologically advanced military in human history, with access to classified aircraft and cutting-edge detection systems, encountered objects that moved in ways that defied their understanding of physics and engineering. Objects that could accelerate instantly, change direction without any apparent mechanism, and disappear from radar in the blink of an eye. Now, if you're thinking like a skeptic, and you should be, there are plenty of reasonable explanations for these encounters. Advanced foreign technology that we don't know about. Atmospheric phenomena that we're still learning to understand. Equipment malfunctions that create false readings. Optical illusions that can trick even trained observers. But here's where the zoo hypothesis offers a fascinating alternative perspective. What if these occasional sightings aren't accidents or equipment failures? What if they're controlled leaks? Imagine you're a wildlife researcher studying a particularly intelligent species of apes. You want to observe their natural behavior, but you also want to gradually prepare them for the reality that there's a larger world beyond their forest habitat. So occasionally, very carefully, you might let them catch a glimpse of you. Not enough to cause panic or dramatically alter their behavior, but just enough to plant a seed of awareness that there might be something more out there. The sightings could be serving the same purpose. Brief glimpses behind the curtain, carefully controlled encounters designed to slowly acclimate humanity to the possibility that we're not alone. Think about how our culture has evolved over the past several decades. We've gone from science fiction being a niche interest to space exploration being mainstream news. We've become increasingly comfortable with the idea that life might exist elsewhere in the universe. What if that cultural shift isn't entirely natural? What if it's been gently guided by these occasional mysterious encounters that keep the possibility of extraterrestrial life in our collective consciousness without providing definitive proof? The beauty of this approach, if it's real, is that it maintains plausible deniability. Every sighting can be explained away by skeptics, which prevents mass panic or dramatic social upheaval. But for those who are ready to consider the possibility, the encounters provide tantalizing hints that something extraordinary might be happening just beyond our perception. It's like a cosmic version of training wheels. We're being gradually prepared for a reality that might be too overwhelming to accept all at once. The evidence is there, but it's ambiguous enough that we can choose our own level of belief and comfort with the idea. Now we're getting into the really heavy stuff, the kind of questions that can make your brain hurt in the best possible way. If the zoo hypothesis is real, if we truly are living inside some kind of cosmic preserve, what does that mean for everything we believe about ourselves, our choices, and our place in the universe? Let's start with the big one, free will. Every day you wake up and make thousands of decisions. What to wear, what to eat, whether to take that new job, who to love, where to live, how to spend your precious time on this planet. These choices feel deeply personal, authentically yours. They're the building blocks of your identity, the foundation of everything you consider to be uniquely you. But what if those choices aren't as free as they seem? What if we're like lab rats in a maze, thinking we're exploring freely while actually following paths that have been carefully designed by researchers? What if every major decision in human history, every breakthrough, every cultural shift, every moment we thought we were charting our own course, was actually just us following invisible guidelines laid out by our cosmic observers? It's a disturbing thought, isn't it? The idea that we might be cosmic marionettes, dancing to strings we can't even see. But here's where it gets even more interesting, and maybe a little hopeful too. Think about what you're doing right now. You're questioning the nature of reality itself. You're considering the possibility that everything you thought you knew about human independence might be wrong. You're using your mind to examine the very boundaries of your own existence. And that's exactly the kind of behavior that might indicate we're not just passive subjects in someone else's experiment. Maybe the very fact that we can ask these questions, that we can conceive of the zoo hypothesis and debate its implications, means we're starting to peek behind the curtain. Maybe our growing awareness of our potential cosmic situation is actually a sign that we're evolving beyond the original parameters of the experiment. Consider this. What happens when the animals in a zoo become too intelligent? When they start to understand their situation, recognize their captivity, and question the nature of their existence? At some point, the ethical thing to do might be to acknowledge their awareness and change the relationship entirely. Could humanity be approaching that threshold? Are we becoming too self-aware, too philosophically sophisticated, too technologically advanced to remain unknowing subjects in a cosmic study? Maybe every time we seriously consider the possibility that we're being observed, we're actually breaking the fourth wall of our own reality show. But here's a question that might hit you right in the gut. How would you feel if you discovered tomorrow that your entire species had been part of an alien experiment? Would you feel betrayed? Angry that your whole life had been observed without your consent? Or would you feel honored to be part of something larger than yourself? Some people might feel violated, like their privacy had been invaded on the most fundamental level. The idea that our most intimate moments, our struggles, our triumphs, our failures, might all be data points in someone else's research project could feel deeply disturbing. Others might feel fascinated, even excited. The loneliness of thinking we're alone in the universe could be replaced by the comfort of knowing we're part of a vast cosmic community, even if we don't fully understand our place in it yet. And then there are those who might feel a strange sense of responsibility. If we are being studied, if our development and choices matter to beings far more advanced than ourselves, then maybe every decision we make carries weight beyond our own lives. Maybe how we treat each other, how we care for our planet, how we grow as a species, actually matters on a scale we never imagined. The zoo hypothesis forces us to confront some of the deepest questions about consciousness, purpose, and meaning. Are we truly the authors of our own story, or are we characters in someone else's narrative? Does it matter as long as our experiences feel real and meaningful to us? Maybe the most profound implication is this: whether we're in a zoo or not, whether we're being observed or truly alone, We still have to live our lives. We still have to make choices, build relationships, create art, solve problems, and try to leave the world a little better than we found it. The zoo hypothesis doesn't diminish the importance of human experience. If anything, it might make it more precious, more significant, more worthy of our careful attention. So here we are, at the end of our journey through one of the most mind-bending ideas in modern science. The zoo hypothesis has taken us from a simple question about cosmic silence to deep reflections about the nature of reality itself. But as we wrap up this exploration, I want you to think about what this theory really teaches us, regardless of whether it's true or not. The zoo hypothesis forces us to question not just whether we're alone in the universe, but what our role might be in the grand cosmic story. It challenges us to think beyond our own immediate concerns and consider ourselves from a perspective that's almost impossibly vast and long-term. Think about it this way. Every time you step outside and look up at the night sky, you might be looking back at observers who have been watching our species grow from scattered tribes into a global civilization. Every achievement we've made, every mistake we've learned from, every moment of beauty we've created, might be part of a story that's being witnessed and documented by minds we can barely imagine. But here's what I find most beautiful about this possibility. If we are being observed, if our planet really is some kind of cosmic preserve, then maybe the most important thing we can do is put on a good show. And by that, I don't mean performing for an audience. I mean living up to the best version of ourselves, treating our world and each other with the kind of care and respect that would make any cosmic observer proud. While we spend billions of dollars and countless hours searching for life among the stars, perhaps the real test of our readiness for cosmic citizenship is happening right here, right now, in how we handle the challenges of our own world. Climate change, inequality, conflict, environmental destruction. These aren't just human problems. If we're being watched, they're our cosmic report card. Imagine if tomorrow, advanced alien civilizations revealed themselves and offered humanity a place in some kind of galactic community. What would our application look like? Would we be the kind of species that other intelligent beings would want as neighbors? Would our track record of caring for our own planet and each other recommend us for membership in something larger? The zoo hypothesis suggests that maybe this evaluation is already happening. Maybe we're in a kind of cosmic probationary period, being observed to see whether we can grow beyond our destructive tendencies and develop into the kind of mature, responsible civilization that deserves to know about the larger universe. And here's the thing that gives me hope. The very fact that we can conceive of ideas like the zoo hypothesis shows how far we've already come. We've developed the intellectual sophistication to question our own assumptions about reality. We've gained the humility to consider that we might not be the center of the cosmic story. We've learned to think in terms of deep time and vast scales that would have been incomprehensible to our ancestors. Whether aliens are watching us or not, whether we're alone or part of a crowded galaxy, the zoo hypothesis reminds us that our actions matter. Every choice we make about how to treat our planet, how to interact with other species, how to solve our problems and build our future, might be more significant than we realize. Maybe that's the real lesson here. Instead of just looking outward for signs of intelligence in the universe, maybe we should focus on becoming the kind of intelligence that deserves to find others. Maybe the path to cosmic contact isn't through more powerful telescopes or faster-than-light travel, but through becoming better versions of ourselves. After all, if someone is watching, wouldn't you want them to see humanity at its very best? That's the journey we're all on together, whether we're alone in the universe or part of something much larger than ourselves. And that's a journey worth taking, no matter who might be watching. If you've enjoyed this cosmic exploration as much as I have, make sure to subscribe to Exploring the Universe and hit that notification bell. Share this with friends who love pondering the big questions about our place in the cosmos. There's so much more to discover together, and trust me, the universe has plenty more mysteries waiting for us to explore. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through the possibilities of our cosmic existence.